All right, welcome to the Lockdown Podcast. Continuing to pick apart Raw and SmackDown, any PLEs, any of the rumor roundups, all of that nonsense. So it is nice that we are back to full strength after Tim's weeks of illness. So it is good to have you back.
Good to be
So
back.
so we had an interesting week in professional wrestling and WWE specifically being we had the season two premiere of Raw on Netflix, and we had SmackDown in Germany, and we had the 3 Days of Hell match between Cody and Drew. So, man, so I what I've noticed, and I think I'm probably not alone, is that like we seem to be getting kind of very plateau kind of not very put together shows as of recent, and I'm glad that I'm hoping that we come in and in 2026 on the road to rest or to yeah, well, I guess we're the road to Royal Rumble at this point. That we put some they put some compelling stories together and don't really flop. And honestly, most of us aren't going to be able to watch Royal Rumble unless we're like up early in the morning or something because it's in Riyadh, which everyone is pissed about. They have enough shows, but whatever. I, I I'm probably with a lot of people that also disagree. Now, so we have Raw kicking off with the Kabuki Warriors defending their titles against Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. And I honestly have to say this was actually a good match. It wasn't any tomfoolery going on really. And so after all it's said and done, we do get Rhea and Io Sky walking away victorious, and now they're the new women's tag team champions. Which finally, um, I've said a million times over that the women's tag team division is very bleak at best, and you know they just they're not defending them enough, and realistically the women's tag team championships are tri-branded, so it's really confusing when they subject them to really only one show when realistically they're supposed to be divided amongst all three shows. And it even with them winning, it's still kind of like I mean, cool, they won the gold, but I mean, what are they going to do with it now? Are they going to do exactly what every other championships have done and just kind of coast around and then maybe defend it once a month? I don't know,
You
but
know, they can at this particular point, I think there just needs to be women's tag team championships on both brands. Just yeah. We just need there to be, instead of just one team going in between two or three different brands, just same championships on all brands, just moving forward. Um that way it gives more people opportunities to be champion, and it gives more people the opportunity to follow the shows that has their favorite stars on it.
yeah.
Yeah, let's just do that.
And I
Agree.
mean, and maybe they're on the cusp of doing that, but I think that I think WWE is getting a little bit oversaturated with championships, unfortunately, and not enough competition defending those titles. Obviously, you know, SmackDown switched to 3 hours. I don't know how long that'll last, um, because I still feel like it's gonna be oversaturated with commercials, backstage segments, and just not matches. So, now if they do that with Raw, I mean Raw was originally 3 hours anyways, But
say Raw was 3 hours and SmackDown was always 2 hours.
yeah, so I mean, I hope maybe they switch it both to 3 hours because I'm not concerned about the number of matches because obviously like, you know, they've said very widely, I think it was someone in the back, you know, talking about how they don't want to have like an overabundance of matches because they don't want you to forget the matches. And that makes a lot of sense. You don't forget the match in the middle or something. And so like, but like the commercial thing is whatever. That's a normal television thing. But you know, the amount of, you know, matches that don't go that long, you know, when you're sitting on a 3 hour show and you have, you know, an hour and a half of matches tops, you know, then it's just an exuberant amount of filler and backstage segments. But so so Gunther obviously beat John Cena in his final match. And so now we're moving into 2026, and this is what I would call the year of AJ Styles. And so we get Gunther coming out and, you know, doing Gunther things. And obviously we get AJ Styles coming out and ends up giving Gunther a big old slap across the face, which is going to lead us into this coming Friday with Gunther versus AJ Styles, which I think is top tier. So I'm glad that match is not taking 20 weeks to develop. Like, just run it, see what happens, and, you know, maybe we'll get something else down the road between these two. I don't know. But I'm glad we're going to see it this Friday.
Yeah, I did watch an interview with somebody interviewing AJ and asking him, "Are you gonna do the same type of thing as what Cena did, and have them pick your final, have them do a battle, whatever tournament type of thing for your last opponent?" He goes, he just went on, goes, "To be honest, I don't give a." He was like, "I don't give a shit who I get. I'm gonna do whatever's best for the company, best for the business, and best for the opponent. I don't care who I get."
Yeah, and I think that's, you know, like AJ Styles and John Cena, although, you know, are honestly both literally top tier talent. I think their journey and kind of how they do their business is way different. You know, AJ Styles has always been, you know, just very strategic. John Cena is obviously more crowd reaction heavy. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure they're gonna have we're gonna get fantasy bookings, you know, with AJ Styles. Honestly, Gunther out the gate is enough. That's a good start to me. So I look forward to that this week. So Becky Lynch, you know, was obviously lost to Maxine Dupree a while back and had this whole thing about, oh, she's not the real champion, yada yada yada. In Maxine Dupree and the inexperience of it, basically, oh fine, Becky, we'll give you another match. And so they get, you know, she gets another match, and I mean, Becky won dirty, but I mean, I don't, you know,
That's
like
insane. It's Becky for you.
Yeah, and honestly, like, what did you expect? Like, you know,
See,
like, and
I think the main reason why they gave her that title and let her have that title, because she was going to be on the red carpet for her new TV show or movie, Star Trek, and I think they want a title on her to promote their company more.
yeah.
That's what I think the reason why they gave it to her, because she had the title at the red carpet for it.
Yeah, and honestly, like, as much as we wanted the story of Maxine Dupree and obviously winning the championship and, you know, having some good matches, she's just not top tier, and that's nothing against Maxine Dupree. Like, I think she's worked with whatever they've given her, to the best of her ability, and obviously, like, she showed that she's learned quite a bit as far as, you know, as far as matches, and, doing well in the matches and having all kinds of crazy moves and all that. So like I applaud her, but Becky's obviously a better thing moving forward. But like what I've noticed though is that with the women's IC and the women's United States Championship, they really don't have stories because they've had the same 3 or 4 people kind of doing the battling and the bidding, and they really haven't had anybody up from the outside. But I hope, and again, I hope 2026, hopefully we build and we do better. So, because last year, was a dud. ESPN's pretty much irritated with everything with their deal. I'm sure
Yep.
Netflix isn't far behind, and so they just need to do better. And and you have all the money in the world, so let's figure it out.
Yeah.
Now, so after that match, we basically get the Usos coming down and doing some short little bit on
In the audience.
putting all the tag teams on notice, blah blah. And I'm like, okay, dude, like I'm not really like it was an unnecessary 2.5 minutes of my life. But so we had Stephanie Vaquer getting interviewed, and then we get the attack by Raquel Rodriguez, and this only leads me to believe that they should on like I don't think Stephanie's would be cleared to compete, and I really think they just need to relinquish it and do something with it. I know we talked about beforehand about her taking a loss, but like I think she, has at least a semi believable injury that putting her in a match would just be dangerous. But they've let champions linger around for months without defending their title. Jade Cargill. But and so I think that from that point of view, like give her 2 months off, who cares? Give her some small segments and let her recoup. Because it's not the olden days when they had to defend their title once a month, otherwise they'd relinquish it. Which honestly I thought was a better deal anyways, because then they would be defending it more, and you've seen more bigger matches on Raw and SmackDown defending those titles versus nowadays where it's you rarely ever see a top champion defend their title, with the exception of obviously this past week, but it's super rare. You usually see the secondary titles usually defended often. The tag team division, kind of sorta, but
Say Raw's tag titles were being defended almost every week when it was under AJ Styles.
yeah.
Well, hopefully the Usos kind of did that.
To me, it sounds just like, creative in the booking style. You have the faces be the workhorses, the heels get to do whatever they want. It sets up
Pretty
that
much.
psychology of like the bad guys aren't defending championships, and the good guys are always like trying to show up for the fans. It's another way of getting faces over for the current storyline. So I'm not worried about it. I think it's more of creative. If anybody has lingering injuries and that sort of stuff, give them a little bit of time. Blah blah blah. It's a WWE recipe, so it's what they're serving, so it's what we're going to eat. But at the same time,
pretty much what we're going to eat.
Yep. But I did quickly look up update on Stephanie Vaquer's injury, and it looks like a rolled ankle or a bruised ankle of some sort. There's like Instagram pictures of her ankle or whatever have you, and it's bruised. So if she's not going to be wrestling for like 18, 19 days, and she's just going to do some light rehab, working on that ankle and stuff like that, for an athlete of that caliber, I think it would help. She may be hobbling, she may sell it a little bit more. And it's also a good way to, if she does happen to lose the championship, a good way to get the title off of her is with keeping her look strong and working through an injury, and then having Raquel
Yeah.
capitalize on that injury and going that route. So yeah,
It's well,
it's all
it's
good.
pretty much we'll wait and see what they do. But yeah, I mean, if it's less than a month of any kind of rehab, like I wouldn't be worried about it, because they can't look at her and be like, "Oh, you haven't done anything with it." Well, neither have they done with Jade Cargill either. So
Yeah,
it's been like over 2 months since she's had that title, and she's not defended it once. So give
Yeah.
Stephanie Vaquer a break.
yeah.
So our next match we got was Liv Morgan and Lyra Valkyria, which, Sheamus always says, "Aren't you entertained?" And with this, I say no. Like, I respect the match. It was a decent match, but they don't really get much time to like cook in these matches, and I don't know, because it's that's how pretty much women's matches go. They're really never over like 20 minutes tops. They're usually in that like 10 to 12-minute average of a match.
Hmm.
I'm not sure exactly how long that match was, but like, I mean, it was a good mid card match, we'll call it, even though obviously I wouldn't view Liv Morgan as mid card, but like, that's just kind of how things are right now with the storyline. Um, so, not bad. Not bad. So the main event of Raw on Netflix season 2 premiere, we got to see Braun Breaker and CM Punk, and I have to say this match did not disappoint. It had,
A lot of
you know,
botches.
I mean, yeah, the botches were rough, but like,
Oh yeah.
but it had the twists and turns that we all knew it would, involving the Vision and all that hoopla. And so, it was a good match, but it's not Braun Breaker's time, but that
Not
doesn't
yet.
mean, that it's not gonna happen sooner rather than later. Um, I think this almost puts the Vision back to the drawing board.
I think personally, him taking CM Punk kind of to the level in that match pretty much proves he can handle in those matches, and he can handle going for that title and earning that title.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, it was a solid night. I mean, it wasn't too terrible. But
It
now,
could have been better.
yeah, I mean, it literally had 3 women's matches in one, and then the final match.
We didn't get Y2J.
No, I was. That's the thing, is that like this had nothing of a surprise, zero, zilch, nada, and it's like, how are you going to, as you're on Netflix, right? They gave you $1 billion, okay, and you put together a show that literally is basic as hell. Like, that shit belongs on Sci-Fi, okay?
Or the
Like,
CW channel.
yeah, why are they like, and I get like long-term story booking, but like, it's the season 2 premiere, okay? Like, it's supposed to be something special, and it was literally not.
See, the main reason why I think Y2J didn't come out, I think he's gonna make appearance probably at the Royal Rumble.
And
He
I'm not
might be the either, I would say, the 10th person, maybe the last person.
Yeah, I mean, and they've also, like, obviously, I don't believe everything. You read online about the dirt sheets and the, "Oh, I found the script." No, you didn't. But like,
no, the fuck you did not.
but like, I would say if he's going to be anything in there, he will be on the back end of the final 15. Just to let some of the beginning match nonsense kind of let it do its thing, and then maybe at like 15, 16, 17, maybe, you know, it all of a sudden like the arena goes quiet, the lights
See-
go down, and then all of a sudden you just hear, you know, bring the walls down. Like,
I think I'm gonna say I think he might be at the Royal Rumble, because where the Royal Rumble is gonna be, they're gonna want
yeah,
star power.
yeah.
Mhm.
So
Because they're already,
Yep.
let's say, the freaking where they're having it, they're already building this dang stadium for it, and it's almost complete. And that's where they're gonna have their WrestleMania next year, probably in
Yeah.
the same building that they're doing the Royal Rumble in.
yeah, I don't like that WrestleMania is out of the U.S. I think that is
It should have been.
absolute
It should have been over in
nonsense.
like London or Paris or somewhere like that.
I just, yeah, I don't know.
Somebody that actually deserves it.
Yeah, no, I think it's kind of, it's getting to the point where it's all about the Benjamins,
Who has
and
the most money?
you know, and fans take a back seat. Obviously, people are going to still go to the shows, you know, but it's just it's becoming more UFC than WWE, because obviously not even just the sponsorship, but just the, I don't know if this is even a word, but the prestigious whatever, the prestigiousness of it. And so gonna reel myself back in there. But no, and so it's not becoming, it's becoming less of like this great, like, you know, creating families of generational fans, and now it's just like some spectacle. And then even when you go to the shows, like, they're kind of I mean, and so if you're trying to bring these super prestigious shows and make them marketable, like, you gotta have like some zingers in it. I mean, you can't just give Plum Basic and then expect people to be like, yeah, I want to go to that. I want to go to a Plum Basic show. Like, I
Yeah,
mean,
I want to give out my hard-earned money just to be at that show. Yeah,
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, and like,
just
you
to be
know,
bored out of my damn mind.
I mean, yeah, I mean, because it's like you look at back in like June last year when John Cena did like this, you know, the John Cena's version of the CM Punk pipe bomb in, you know, in Grand Rapids, which was super cool. You know, like something like, you know, it doesn't have to be like too crazy, but like you gotta have like a little bit of pizzazz, a little bit of gusto to these shows if you're gonna make people charge, you know, a couple $1,000 for lower bowl seats, or, you know, around the ring, around the ramp, or whatever. And like, I think some of that, honestly, it's the stages are boring. Like, you know, and it doesn't have to be every like Raw or SmackDown or whatever, but like the PLEs, they used to have like super unique entrances, you know, and they just do them. Like, whether it doesn't matter if it was Payback or Vengeance Day or any of these things, like they used to have these cool, crazy concoctions, and now you're getting like the bare minimum
Yeah,
of entrance.
it's the entrance stadium,
Like,
the entrance way of Raw and SmackDown.
they don't have vignette packages for the wrestlers' entrance. The music is all very generic, and, you know, with the exception of wrestlers who have actual people's music, you know, like a Randy Orton or a CM Punk or Rhea Ripley, you know, like, everybody else's music is pretty generic. But I digress. So we kick off SmackDown with Randy Orton coming out, starting the show, and before he gets a peep out, here comes one Trick Williams. And this is good. Like, this is, if you're going to present an NXT star that's been called up and you want to present him in the craziest way possible, you do what Trick Williams did and what they had him do. And that was to come out and honestly, like it was more of respect than it was like really too much of a twist. But like he's kind of like, hey, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do it with one of the greatest. And obviously you get the Miz end up coming out and giving his 2 cents, and well, the Miz ate another RKO.
Let's say Miz pretty much came out and tacked.
I love it when that happens. I'm not gonna lie. I enjoy it. It tickles my soul. It puts a smile on my face for at least 17, 18 minutes. Anytime
Puts
that the Miz,
a smile on his face when he goes to sleep.
And I love the Miz, but I also love the Miz how well he takes an RKO.
You know what? Yeah.
Like he's laid out flat.
Let's watch that again, folks. You know.
But yeah,
let's do it in slow motion.
Yes.
But but obviously that leads us into the actual first match of the night, which was Trick Williams versus Rey Fenix. And good match. You know, obviously Trick Williams gets the dub on this. But I mean, you know, it's one of those outmatched kind of matches. You know, it's like you have Rey Fenix kind of on the shorter side of, you know, the luchador wrestling, and then you have Trick Williams who's like 6'5" or something. Like
he's 6'5".
Yeah, and so like, you know, and it's not a bad way to kick off one of your first matches on the main roster. So, you know, I look forward to what they do with Trick Williams. I think, you know, we're definitely moving into the era of NXT call-ups, and you know, we're probably at, I don't know, in the last like 2 years, we've probably had at least 10 plus, you know, NXT call-ups. You know, screw the draft. We don't need that nonsense anymore. Like, let's just leave it how it be and go from there. But so when I was talking about the fact that, you know, the women's IC and United States Championship are defended in a very small circle of people, that's pretty much what we got in regards to Julia defending against Alexa Bliss. I mean, I guess this was a little bit at least more out of the box with Alexa Bliss versus, you know, the small circle of others. You know, one Chelsea Green and all that nonsense.
Chelsea Green.
Yeah. But honestly, you know, not a terrible match. Obviously, with a little tomfoolery in the match.
I'm happy her husband's back on the roster.
Yeah, and under his actual name too.
Yes. He owns it.
Yeah. So, but obviously Julia does get the win against Alexa Bliss, which, no harm, no foul. At least you brought someone new. Now, speaking of repetitiveness, we get the MFTs versus the Wyatt Six. And
yeah, that match was okay. It could have been a little bit better, but
so much going on.
I knew who was going to win out of that.
Well, in the Wyatt Six, you know, obviously continue to not defend their titles, and I think a lot of it again is creative.
It is,
and they're about as creative as a 9-year-old with a box of crayons. But like, I mean, you're having them feud with another big group, which really doesn't do much for either one, because it's like, okay, cool, we got 4, we got 5, you got 5, blah blah blah. Hey, let's wrestle. Like that's literally what it's become. And I want to see either just the Wyatt Six just lose like to somebody, I don't care who, and move on, because the Wyatt Six, yes, is a great attraction, but you're holding gold. I mean, for goodness sakes, the Usos defended their titles more when they were in the bloodline than the Wyatt Six have, and they're supposed to be a similar spectacle. and they just need to do something with it because it's getting very stale, and I just feel like they need to do something better with it. But
Agree.
so we get our next match, and again, this is another NXT call up. We get Jordan Grace versus Alba Fire. Pretty decent match. Obviously, Jordan Grace gets the win on this. But as she's walking back, we get Jade Cargill continuing to do whatever it is she's doing with the championship, which is not defending it, and talking about how badass she is when she's literally had feuds with two below mid-card level talent. La-da-da. You know, they need to do something with this. This is literally like, it's boring. I don't care how much shit you talk, Jade. I don't care. If you're not gonna defend your title and put it on the line and have legitimate matches, I could care less if you're even out. I don't care. I don't even care if you come out for this 2.5-minute segment. I don't care.
Okay. I mean,
like I just think like you're the champion. You're the top champion, and yet our secondary titles have been defended more than you as the top tier, and you're bragging about how you're this badass and you're this, that, and the other thing. But like, they've converted you to basically doing little 3-minute video packages in the back or coming out and talking on the mic for a little bit. Like, I mean, I get it. It's not her fault. It's literally WWE creative. But like, this is what we're getting out of the top champion.
but again, going back to what I stated earlier, it's their recipe, and it's to make the baby face get more love and the heel to get more heat. We've seen that same type of recipe used for anybody that's a heel. We've even seen it with the several dozen times with the Miz. We saw it with John Cena. We saw, we see it all the time. And it's like when we are cheering for wrestlers to develop and to come into their own and show that they belong there, especially like with Jade Cargill. I remember when I first started with the Lockdown podcast, it was a lot of like hate for Jade Cargill because it's like, oh man, did they really mess up? Is she really not that good? And then over time we saw her really
sucks.
develop,
Yeah.
and really come into her own. And I think this is just presentation, because she's always just been her presentation has always been a very arrogant athlete, and sometimes
she was over in AEW.
You got to play into that. If that's her strong suit and that's what gets people going in the reaction, all right, let's play into it. Let's do it up. Let's see what we can do here, and let's go. Let's go.
I just feel like, I mean, the fact that we're leading into, we have Saturday night's main event on the 24th. We have the Royal Rumble on the 31st. And like those are, I was just saying main events, whatever, but like, the Royal Rumble's coming up. Like,
20
this
days.
is, and so like they need to pull the trigger on something. Like, I would rather have her have a match and win it against, I don't know who, but like, I don't care. Have her fight Charlotte Flair for all I care. I don't care. Like, just do something to like validate her brutality and her bravado and all of that. Like, have her go out and squash someone.
I think we'll get that as that matchup builds up. Again, it's always this wait and see with them. If they gave us everything, what would we talk about on the podcast? You know what I'm saying? So I would not be surprised if we get something this Friday. Shoot, I don't even know.
I would love to see her take on what's her name that's teaming up with Nia Jax.
Lash Legend. I think that could be something special. I don't think Jordan gets the win at the Royal Rumble. I don't think that is her. I don't think that match is her like welcome to the main roster. Um, I think it's going to be a slow build with Jordan, but I think someone with like a Lash Legend and Jade Cargill, that match will be clumsy. There'll be several botches in that match,
Yeah, I can
but
see that.
I think that is a better build up
Yeah.
for something other. Um, so no to Jordan right now. Um, yes to Lash Legend in the future, and I
Yeah.
do think Lash Legend probably will hold championship gold before Jordan. Not because Jordan can't get it done or isn't champion material. I think it's a hard sell right now for Jordan because she just got there, and Lash is like they've already got her paired up. So it's a wait and see with
Yeah.
with
And,
Jade. Um,
and they could pull the trigger. I mean, like
yeah.
it's just like it just sometimes it just seems a little mundane, and it seems like they're playing like it almost too safe.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and like I said, I would rather have her at least have some matches, like and I don't even care if they're just squash matches, but like because that's what they did when she first won it. They gave her like a Michin and they gave her I think BFAB or something like that, and she just annihilated. I'm like, oh, all right, cool. But then now you've done nothing for the past month and a half.
I mean,
Like I just want to see her at least get some decent matches before they start a new feud to have a legitimate person go after her title.
Agree.
And because they you can't just let her be a backstage goop for just months on end and then all of a sudden fabricate a storyline. You can't fabricate storylines unless you have a situation where you can build something like that. And obviously, like I think they're honestly holding out for Bianca Belair is my honest to God take, and
yeah.
and I think that's just what they're doing right now. But still, let her have some matches.
You
Who
know what?
cares?
And she should
Go
be
beat up
having
anybody. I don't.
some matches, you know. But I think it's that one that's that WWE recipe where it's like we've got to build up these baby faces. How do we do that? Well, let's slow down the champ. Let's it's what they fall back to. And going back to your statement of take some chances, yeah, this SmackDown did take some chances, and it was a really big reward. So yeah, I think that they should do that across the board. Take some chances, be unexpected, um, move some championships around. Call up the right people and shock the world a little bit. Make it worth watching because right
Yeah,
now
it's
these
yeah.
old recipes are really stale. Y'all gonna have to do something different.
Yeah, I mean it's yeah. So we had another United States Open Challenge match by Carmelo Hayes, and we had Shinsuke Nakamura come out, which I think he's on a part-time schedule. It feels like, anyways. But we had a phenomenal match. Honestly, probably one of the better matches of the night. And in the fact that Carmelo's kind of more sifting towards being a face now, which is fine. He still has the like the chip on his shoulder, saying he's him and everything else. But that's like the only heelish thing about him is that particular part about his character. Other than that, he's very face. I mean, he obviously beat Shinsuke Nakamura in a really good match, and
Also say
obviously,
that match was great. Five
there was
stars.
a sign of respect at the end of the match, and I like seeing those times when it's like you have the older, wiser veteran, taking an L to an up and coming. Obviously, he's a champion, so I mean, not so up and coming. He's kind of now, but I like these matches where it's just a straight up match, no nonsense, and there's a sign of respect at the end of it. So, but let's get to the meat and potatoes. And we have the Drew McIntyre versus Cody Rhodes 3 Stages of Hell match that I didn't like one bit. And I thought they did not set up things to go as good as they should have. I don't know where Frederick went, but so
I don't either.
but
Hey,
no,
Frederick, you're over there. Smile.
he's not even on the bottom.
I
thing.
know.
But well, good thing no one watches the full tape. But but no, I like the 3 Days of Hell match was garbage.
It was.
The first match lasted 7 minutes. Like 7 minutes. Like that is ridiculous. And and we, me and Frederick made the bet about, Drew getting the first win, via
I
getting
knew
Cody,
he was.
via getting Cody disqualified. Obviously he didn't. But like the crazy thing about this victory was the fact that he got kicked in the nuts and got a Claymore, and that's what did him in. Like, and then you look at the rest of the match of all the brutality Cody takes and kicks out. Like that first 7 minutes in a low blow and a Claymore, you lose a fall to that. But like, and then you look at the rest of the match, the falls count anywhere, how brutal that was, how intense that was, and there was kickouts and everything, and yeah, I thought this match was a C+ at best, and then the cage match obviously was a giant kerfuffle because apparently Triple H has a mass character obsession, and we get the returning Jacob Fatu, and he's pissed at Drew McIntyre, and so and like this is why like some of this stuff is just bullshit and doesn't make any sense. Is that if like we obviously after this happened and the fact that Cody came and threw off Jacob Fatu, I was like, wow, that's the end of the match, because like what like. Why didn't you just walk out of the cage? Like logic says, well, he's getting beat up. All right, deuces. Like, but no, you got in a fight with Jacob Fatu for no real reason because he wasn't after you, but you interjected yourself. You could have walked out.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Like,
you could have climbed over the cage.
You could have done anything. Like,
yeah,
you could have walked up backwards on the cage.
Like, yeah, I think the ridiculousness of the finish, but the argument for that, or the suspension of disbelief, which is a core tenet or pillar of professional wrestling, is that a good guy is trying to win it the right way and trying to get this outside interference to stop so he can win it the right way. Where that is like, no, you get out of the cage. Everyone's screaming like, get out of the cage. What are you doing? That's not your business.
Because when that happened, in my head I'm thinking like maybe this was the rabbit trail to get us to heel Cody. That's what my thought process was when that was going on. That's what I was thinking, is that okay, well, he's doing this, so like, hey, I'd say fuck it. All right, deuces, I'm out of the cage, I'm done, I win. Bye, Drew McIntyre, go deal with all your other crap. Get to the back of the line again. Like, but no, and then he helps him out, and I'm like, well, we ain't getting heel Cody.
We might not get heel Cody, which I think which I think if you think about that, like I'm thinking about it right at this particular moment, that's a little disappointing. Like, we got heel John Cena, which was awful.
Yeah,
but we can't get heel Cody, which could be awful.
It's a way better character.
Because it could be really watered down. But if we got heel Cody, like all elite heel Cody, oh my goodness.
Yeah, we got
that would just be that would just
that Bullet Club Cody Rhodes.
Yes, that would be so much fun. I mean, just
But it is
just to
WWE.
hear
They're
the
gonna wash them down.
yeah, but it obviously it would be washed down. We would not get him. Yeah, as much. I
Oh,
think
I'm gonna throw this out right now.
Yep.
Him not being the champion, if he goes to Royal Rumble and fucking wins it,
we
the
all
third
become
time in a
heel
row,
Cody. We all
I
become
will
heel Cody.
fucking stop
so-
watching. I will stop watching WWE.
You know what? I will say this, Tim. I think Cody is like final 3 in the Royal Rumble.
Oh god, that better not fucking happen.
You know what? Final 3 in the Royal
I'll turn
Rumble.
the TV off. I won't care who wins. I'll
Final
just turn
3
it
in
off.
the Royal Rumble is fine. Cody winning the Royal Rumble for a 3rd year in a row.
I honestly
Oh.
think whoever wins the Royal Rumble this year is going to be an upstart. I don't think it's going to be someone that we're like, oh yeah, this is a possibility.
Yeah.
Like I'm honestly thinking in my mind because of what. So for those who don't watch NXT, so recently at NXT Deadline or New Year's Evil, we had at the end of the night, so Obafemi defeats Leon Slater, and then all of a sudden they go to the segment in the back, and you got Robert Stone, I think his name is, or Mr. Stone, what do they
Yeah,
call
he
him?
comes
But
in through the door.
and he comes in and he's basically like, "Hey, did you see?" And Obafemi left his title in the ring, and this is like, these are the surprises I want, because now we don't know what what he's going to do with NXT. They don't know what they're going to do. Not on Tuesday I'm going to have to figure out what they're even doing with anything. So
They have been showing his a trailer, whatever, of him on
Yep.
Raw and SmackDown.
yeah. So
Here's what I don't like. I think it's once again undermining, really great champions. And writing the story that Obafemi drops his title or vacates his title to go wherever he wants. They didn't present that as any other. The only other person that they did that for was Asuka. And they did it for Asuka because she was injured. And when she rehabbed, she immediately went to the main roster. That was the last person that they did a vacates title, and she had been on like a 500+ undefeated.
Yeah, she was undefeated, and she won.
Yeah,
She won the Royal Rumble and went after Charlotte Flair for the championship.
right,
And Charlotte Flair is the one that broke her streak.
right.
Yeah.
So, but
I think there's a lot of possibilities.
I don't like that. What I would have rather have seen is Obafemi taking that championship and then going to whatever brand he wants and just beating people.
Yeah.
Because it brings legitimacy to the NXT championship with a dude the size and
He's a big boy.
Yeah, I mean, but like
Obafemi.
at
So,
the end of that taping, you basically had Tony D'Angelo in the background,
In
and
the audience looking.
and so I'm, I guess I'll keep you guys in the loop what happens on Tuesday, but
I'll probably watch it.
but yeah, so I mean, this could mean a plethora of things, and
good.
and maybe we just don't see Obafemi, for a while. Maybe we don't see him till Royal Rumble. Who knows? And
Wouldn't that be great?
but I think like the illusion of it all though is like something I'm like, all right, cool. There's something different, something exciting, something we really don't have too much knowledge about. I mean, really, yes, they've been showing like little vignettes of Obafemi on Raw and SmackDown and stuff. And so but like I love being in the dark. And I love a good surprise. And I feel like this year's Royal Rumble, I think, is going to have more twists than we've had in a while. just
which
because
would be great for the product, right?
yes, and
Agree.
because and I say that is because they're doing away with the draft, and so this opens up, this particular Royal Rumble, really nothing's off the table. Anybody winning from either brand is not off the table. And it's kind of a crazy time because you normally don't see that doesn't normally how things go.
Mm-hmm.
But again, that's how it's gone for so long. So to have something different and have some kind of different, curtain over our eyes, and we don't actually know what's actually going to happen, like this is an exciting time. So like I think 2026, I feel like yes, like the couple, Raw and SmackDowns were kind of very complacent and whatever,
Mm-hmm.
but I think that like there's more mysteries, in store for us along the way of the Royal Rumble. And honestly, the same thing with we have on SmackDown, we have, the four different matches to determine the number one contender to face Drew at Royal Rumble. And so, I mean, there's truly just unlimited possibilities. And I think that's a fun place to be at this point. After really 2025 being really a dud year,
Oh yeah.
you know, we thought in 2024, the year of Paul Levesque, we thought that era was going to be exciting, and it was. And then we drifted into the TKO era. That's an absolute shitstorm. And so maybe they're finally getting their heads out of their asses, and let's make 2026 exciting again. So, but we'll wait and see as we do, because that is all we can do. So
Pretty much.
Yep.
So we'll put a pin in this, and we'll be back next week, and hopefully we have more to talk about. So this is the Lockdown Podcast. Peace.